The finishing touches on a project can really make or break it. So I want to share with you 3 of my favorite simple edges to add to a project in order to create a beautiful and professional looking finish. These are all edges that I've personally used in my designs. They're all very simple edges. Only one of them actually has more than one row in it. These can be used from anything to finishing off a blanket, to creating a unique touch to a wall hanging or the flap of a bag you've created. I'm just going to show you step by step how you would actually use these. I'm not going to give you a project to use them on. I'm just going to create them on the edge of a small piece of crochet fabric so that you can add them to your designs or your projects yourself. The first edging or border that I want to share with you is one that I call a third loop border. Now, this is one that is really best for projects that you need to add a border to in the round. So finishing off blankets, maybe working around a wall hanging, similarly to how I use it in the Lovely Day wall hanging. You can see it just creates this very clean, subtle edge. I like it for projects like this and projects like blankets especially, because generally the thing you want to draw attention to is the design in the center or the stitches in the middle, and this is a way to just add a border that's not going to take away from all of the lovely work you've done on the main part of the piece. So I've got a small piece here which I'm going to use to show you how to do this. You're going to want to start with a stitch in the corner of your project and begin to half double crochet across. When you get to the corner of the blanket or whatever it is you're working on, you will chain 1 and you'll adjust your work to start working along the opposite edge. Again, when you get to a corner, you'll chain 1 and then adjust to start working down the opposite side, and then continuing with half double crochet. And you'll see it just gives you the shift down. And again, at the next corner, chain 1, shift, and begin to work up this last edge. And you can see here that it's already created a pretty nice clean edge here. It already looks very nice like that. So then when you get to that last corner, you'll chain 1 and you'll just go ahead and join to the first half double crochet that you created, and that will be the first time around. Again, it already looks very nice and very clean around it. So now to create the last row of this, you'll chain 1 and you're going to work in the same direction. We're not going to turn our work, and we're going to work into the third loop that is on the back of your crochet now. So you can see here that we have the V of our stitches, front loop, our back loop. The third loop is this right here, right underneath that back loop. So we're going to work into that, and we're going to place single crochet stitches into those third loops. So we'll go ahead, and that first one can be kind of hidden, so make sure you grab that one. Right, so then we have the V from our regular stitch, and we'll go into the third loop on the back of the work and single crochet. Again, V from the regular stitch, and we will work into that third loop. And what this is going to do is it's going to push the V of that half double crochet stitch to the front of your work, and it's also going to kind of stack the V of the single crochet stitch right next to that V from the half double crochet. So it makes this very nice doubling up of the stitch effect right here that you see. So we're going to continue to do that across until we get to that chain that we made in the corner. Now once you get to that corner stitch, we're actually just going to place 2 single crochet in that, and that's going to take us around so we can start working on this other edge and working into those third loops. So we'll pick that back up. The very first one can be kind of hard to get, and then we will continue across to the next corner, picking up all of those third loops, and then we are in this next corner, and we will put 2 single crochet, and then again turn our work and begin to work down the third side. And a little tip for when I do this edge is I do try to consciously work slightly looser, just because single crochet stitches are a smaller stitch than the half double crochet stitch. So if you do them too tightly, it could create some curling or buckling of your fabric. So it's just best to kind of make sure that those are remaining a similar width, because the single crochet can sometimes be slightly smaller stitches. All right, now we're at that third corner, so we'll put 2 single crochet and then again begin to work along the fourth edge over to our last corner. And when we are at that last corner, we are again going to put 2 single crochet in the chain space to turn us around, and now we should be right next to that very first stitch. So you can join with a slip stitch, or you can cut your yarn and do an invisible join if you want, and that gives you that nice little stack stitch half double crochet third loop edge. And again, I love how like neat and clean this looks, and it's not distracting from any of the other work you've done on your project. Now I feel like this next example of a stitch probably has a official name, but I do not know it. But this one is a slip stitch chain 1 border, and it's a little bit fancier but still very, very simple. It's just a repeat of those 2 stitches, and it's going to create this little tiny like wave of an edge. So it's basically a single crochet height edge, but it's got a little more interest, a little more texture to it, because it the chain between the slip stitches just kind of creates this little wave texture, just like I've used here on my Bow So Sweet tote bag. I've also used it here on this book sleeve that I created, and I wanted to show you this because I wanted to show that this is what it looks like when you put it into a regular stitch. So it's very nice and even. It does still work when worked into a raw edge like I did here, but you do have to be like here. I spaced it a little further apart than some of these other places, so the wave becomes a little shorter. So just be aware that if you're going to work around a blanket or something that has a raw edge, that you have to be really paying attention to your spacing. Or you should start this off by creating maybe a single crochet or some sort of crochet edge first and then going for this, but you can put it into a raw edge. So it's very simple. I'm going to work it into my little piece here. So I actually do have stitches all the way around to work into, like I suggested you do. But again, you really don't have to, but it is going to give it a different look. When you have it in these even stitches, it's just such a perfect little wave that it looks really nice. So you'll attach your yarn and you'll chain 1, and then you'll slip stitch into the next stitch. And then this is the repeat, so easy. You chain 1, slip stitch into the next stitch. So we're not skipping a stitch when we chain that one. We're just creating an extra little lump there. So chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, slip stitch. So easy, and it just makes the cutest little subtle edge. I think this would be great for, I used it on my Bow So Sweet tote like I showed you with the strawberries. I think it would be great on the edge of blankets, especially like if you are making baby blankets. Maybe you want the edges to be something that's nice and tight, so like little can't get snagged all that much, but it's still more interesting than just having a single crochet edge or a double crochet edge. Now if you get to the corner of a project, I just kind of continue because those chains let it be a little flexible around that corner. So I just put a slip stitch in that corner stitch, and then I continue on my way. It does kind of bunch it up. I think maybe just a little tiny bit more, it looks like to me, in that corner, but really not much. It just continues going around and you can be on your way. Super simple. And you just keep it going. And then once I've made my way back around, I'm at that last stitch, I just usually go ahead and chain one, even though there's no more stitches left, and I just one more time go into that same stitch that I began in and join it, and then we can cut our yarn and we can pull that guy through down like that, and there is that edge. Again, very simple yet very adorable, just adds a little bit of texture. All right, and the third and last type of edge I'm going to share with you how to make is a ruffle. A ruffle edge is really such a fun and more standout way to finish off a project. So what you'll do is you will attach your yarn, and I tend to do my ruffles in something like a double crochet. I have used treble crochets before, but you do kind of want to use a taller stitch. A single crochet and a half double crochet is not going to have as much of the effect as you need unless it's a very small yarn, and then a half double crochet might work. So I attached my yarn and I chained two. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to work 2 more double crochet into that same stitch to start off. Okay, and now how we create a ruffle is basically by increasing in each of the stitches around. So I have, if we count that chain as a double crochet, I have 3 double crochets. So we're going to continue to put 3 double crochets in each stitch around our project or along your row or wherever. This isn't usually one that you put a second row on top of, though you could to make it a longer ruffle if you wanted to, if that's the look you were going for. So we're just going to go ahead and keep putting 3 double crochet in each stitch around. And when you get to a corner, if you have a corner in your work, you're just going to go ahead and put 3 double crochet in that corner chain or corner stitch, whatever you have there for that, and then continue your way down the side of your work. And we can see when we put our piece down that it's just creating this little ruffle around. Now, if you wanted it to be a little less of a ruffle, you could do something like 2 double crochet in each stitch, and that will make it a much less dramatic ruffle. And if you wanted it to be more of a ruffle, you could even do more, or maybe just do more every other. I've done that before with some of my designs. If I wanted the ruffle to be just a little bit more, I would do something like 4 in one and 3 in the next, and then repeat that pattern all along the edge. Or if I wanted it just a little bit less, even do that same thing but going down in one. So 3 in one stitch and 2 in the next stitch, and then repeat it. So you can definitely play around with the level of ruffle you're getting on your project just by changing the way that you're using those stitches and building upon each other with them. And when you get to that last stitch, you'll add 3 in there as well. And you can see how much more fabric we have with that ruffle edge, and you'll just join with a slip stitch if you are if you're working in the round. If you're not and you just want to have a finish, I usually just stop right there and I just leave it just like that. But for this project we will go ahead and join, and that is our ruffle edge. And you can see our fabric still lays pretty much just how it's supposed to. It's just those extra stitches that curl up and create the ruffle. Thanks for hanging out and learning how to create these 3 crochet borders. I hope that you found this tutorial useful and that you're able to add these to your next crochet design or project. Have you used any of these before yourself? I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe so that you'll be notified the next time a video comes out.